I'm sure you're aware by now, but animal shelters and rescues both in Pima County and across the country are experiencing an overpopulation crisis, and that is not an understatement. There was a time in the past you probably remember here when euthanizing healthy animals en masse for space was just a part of the job, but it was operating under those conditions with supportive leadership like yours and supportive communities like Pima County, that Pima Animal Care became one of, if not the most successful municipal shelter in the country. Heck went from euthanizing 40% of its dogs just 10 years ago to less than 10% today. A new norm has been established for our homeless pets, and turning back the clock to the dark ages when we would euthanize our way out of a problem is not on the table anymore. We know our pets deserve better and that we can do better, and we know Pima County residents care about this. We've seen our dog adoption rate go from 58% of our outcomes in 2021 to 66% of our outcomes in 2022. In the history of PAC, the adoption rate had never previously breached 60%. In spite of this, PAC is still operating over capacity every single day, even while doing everything right. A PAC shelter means contagious, deadly illnesses spread like wildfire. A few hours after I wrote this, actually, it was announced that 2 dogs tested positive for strep yesterday, which is 2 outbreaks in less than 6 months. This is previously an illness that would surface every few years at the shelter. An overpacked shelter also means dogs deteriorate rapidly with limited opportunities to leave their cramped, noisy kennels, and it means staff and volunteer turnover is very high because working in an environment like this and feeling hopeless as you watch animals you love lose more and more of themselves out their lives day after day is nothing short of trauma on a grand scale for pay that doesn't compete. The community desperately wants to help these animals, but they can only do so much in times like these when they can barely afford rent. I believe we're at a tipping point in animal sheltering where we either lose years worth of life-saving progress or we take some bigger next steps. There are many different arenas we could look to for solutions, as this crisis is multifaceted. But as county leadership, I would defer to you to know what is most feasible and what may already be underway. I imagine solutions in at least 3 broad categories, the first of which being making it less of a burden to own dogs by way of things like tax credits for landlords who allow pets or regularly discriminated against breeds, incentivized and more widely accessible spay-neuter. The second category being making it more difficult for puppy mills and backyard breeders to produce and sell dogs by way of limiting storefront sales of dogs to shelter and rescue groups or introducing higher standards and tighter regulations for breeders. As I understand it, there are currently no standards or regulations for breeders in Arizona. The third would be making shelter work more competitive so we stop losing excellent staff to far less stressful work. For the pay frontline staff get, they could easily just get a job at Costume and be able to sleep at night.
Did you want to submit your written comments?